When it comes to grafting, I really like to do it visually. And when you slide your stitches off the needle, it helps you understand why in Kitchener you insert into one stitch and take it off, and then insert into the next stitch and leave it on. You can see that you're following the path of this stitch. The other important thing to know is you will always be going back where you came from. So if you think about duplicate stitch, it really helps. So here I'm going right back into the same stitch that I came out of, and then jogging over one stitch, just like duplicate stitch. And I, at this point, go ahead and I actually slide it off the needle. You don't have to, but I like to. Now over here, you can see again, I need to go back where I came from. And do you see how taking half of this leg and half of this leg, you can bring them together and really see that V. So I love grafting visually. And then I slide that off the needle. And you can already see, clear as day, columns of stitches emerge. So here I'm doing it with a different color, so it's easier to see, back where I came from, back where I came from, and then jog over into the next stitch. And then I go ahead and slide it off. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do a few more stitches. Then I'll show you how to just snug them up to adjust their size as you go. Back where I came from and into the next stitch. Now, one thing that's helpful about sliding it off is depending on how it's mounted on your needle, if I went into this leg, I would twist that stitch. So you can see if I slide it off the needle, you can see a little easier, I see where I have to go in. So I'm going to do a few more stitches, and then let's look at snugging them up. So here I have a few big loops, and now I am going to go back to the beginning, and I just want to snug those up so that they're the same size as all the other stitches. But I do leave them loose at the beginning because that really helps me see the path of the stitches. But you can see how much easier it is when you are visually grafting and you're actually removing the stitch from the needle as you go. So here again, I need to go back down to the bottom, and I know, oh yeah, always return where I came from. So I'm going to slide that off the needle. And there it's so much easier to see, yeah, that's where I go, right there. And also remember this, my yarn is up, so that means it has to go down. It's going down, whoop, now it's going to go up. Same with duplicate stitch. And I will go ahead and slide that bottom one off the needle. Now my yarn's coming up, so it has to go down. And you can see I need to go down, right there, I need to go down into that half a stitch, right where my yarn's coming up. And now I'll go ahead and slide the next stitch off the needle, and I will be going up into that next stitch. Up, and then down. Slide it off the needle. Up. If I'm going up, I know next, where do I go? Back where I came from. Down. Slide the next guy off the needle. Up, etc. So visual grafting makes life ever so much easier. No memorizing, just following the path of your stitches. Here I fully slid the stitches off the needle, and if you have a nice grippy wool that's not going anywhere, it's the easiest method of all to graft, not even worrying about moving those needles out of the way. You can always really see clearly. I go down, I go up into the next stitch, and you can see if I pause for a second and I pinch, a stitch, clear as day. Now I'm going up. That means I go down, down, up. So easiest of all, unless it's a silk or a rayon or a nylon or a bamboo or some slippery yarn that's going to get away from you, just slide them right off the needle. And you don't even have to worry about futzing with needles that are in the way. Visual grafting, it's the best.